Hi everyone, I'm Sanjana from Mockcat, and this video is all about threes. As you can see from this background, today we are going to be talking about the CAT registration form. And here I'm going to tell you what are the three documents that you need, what are the three main mistakes that you should avoid, and what are three things that you have to know before you even start the form filling. And let's start off with that right away. Now, the first thing which you need to know is rather simple. It is the important dates. Here, one thing, and this is also our first mistake to avoid, is making sure that you are checking that the last date is 13th of September, but it's ending at 5 p.m. It is not at midnight. Sometimes people think it's going to be midnight and then they panic or they are not able to fill it. Now, the CAT authorities do tend to extend this by about a week, but this hasn't often happened. Even in recent times, there have been times when they haven't extended. So I would say it's best to finish it off by 12th September at the latest, because 13th, what will happen is there'll be a lot of applicants and then systems can slow, payment gateways might not work, and it's just stressful. Finish it off latest by the 12th. If you are awaiting some document, if you have everything handy, you can finish it off right after this video or definitely by this week. Now, before I go into the two other things that you need to know, make sure that you've subscribed on this YouTube channel if you're taking CAT 2025 or later CAT exams, because there's a lot of prep content that's there and that's coming your way. And now let's look at the second thing, and that is the eligibility. When it comes to eligibility, there are a couple of things. You should be in your final year of your graduation, or you should have already graduated. In case if you don't have a bachelor's degree but you have a technical or a professional degree, which is specifically these ones, that is also okay. As you can see, we just need to fulfill any one of these three conditions and that's it. The reason for allowing you if you're in your final year is because the assumption is that you are going to finish off your exams and all by June of next year, which is when you'll be joining an IIM or other top B school. Now, one more requirement which is there is your marks. Not in your 10th or 12th, but in your UG degree, you should have at least 50% or equivalent CGPA. CGPA conversion, if the GPA is out of 10, is typically multiplication by 9.5 or sometimes by 10. Make sure that you are checking with your college or your university and confirming it. A lot of the times this could be given in your mark sheets, or there might be a document which is there. This is usually 50%. For certain categories, this comes as 45%. And these are your eligibility criteria. It's a short document. Make sure that you go through it fully. The next thing which you should go through, and this is the most important, that's your registration guide. The registration guide is long and I will be taking you through a lot of these, but it's definitely important. We'll link this for you along with the website, that's iamcat.ac.in, in the description and the first pinned comment, and make sure that you go through it. You can also go through our blog post, which also contains a lot of details about the CAT form filling. You can have it open next to you as you are filling the form. But now let's look at this. Here we have the process. The initial login process, which is explained out here, is quite simple. You come onto the main screen, click on the new candidate registration. Once it's done loading, then they'll ask you to fill a few details such as your name, your date of birth, your mobile, email, and so on. And then once you fill these details, you will be getting a mobile OTP as well as an email OTP. So you got to enter it, validate it, and once that process is completed, then you will get your login ID and your password on your registered mail ID. Make sure that you're checking all of these details, because once you submit it, most likely you won't be able to change it. Once the registration process is done, which is explained all over here, then the next thing is going to be you log in from the registered candidate login, and then you're going to get something like this. You will get an option to go to the main application form where you have all of these different tabs. I will be taking you through all of these. But one thing here is your category, right? Now, if your category is general, then you need to upload only 2 documents. But if you're falling under any of these others, then you need to have the relevant documents. For example, if I go to EWS, you can see that I have to upload these, and I shall also be asked to upload the valid certificate. Similarly, you have different details which they will ask based on what you are going for. Now, this is one thing that you have to be quite careful. When it comes to general or OBC category, the reservation is an income-based reservation. So you can't just say that I am from OBC and that's it and upload your OBC certificate. That's the second mistake that you have to be careful about. Here, you have to basically show that you are part of the non-creamy leg. Similarly, for general, you have to show that you're from the economically weaker section. Now, I'm not really an expert at this, so make sure that you have checked it, you have gone through the registration and the eligibility guide, and you are uploading the relevant documents. The registration guide will also give you the link through which you can check if you are falling under OBC or not. So there's a lot of help which is there. If at all you realize that you are falling into any of these reserved categories, but you don't have the relevant documents right now, there's also an undertaking which you can upload. The undertaking is something which is given right here, and you can commit to them that after CAT you are going to get it. So for example, whichever IIMs or whichever institutes are going to call you, you should have the certificate by then. I would say try to make sure that you get it right now if you don't have it, because that just eliminates unnecessary stress. Now, once you filled up all of the details, the next two things which you will have to upload are your passport size photograph and your scanned copy of your signature. Make sure both are clear, it's within the memory guidelines, you are not, wearing glasses when you're taking it, and so on and so forth. By glasses, I mean sunglasses. So there are a few details which you will get right here. Right? So if you see, they're actually showing you that the photo has to be clear, they're showing you that it has to be a light background, all of that. You can't be wearing, something like this. You can wear glasses like I'm wearing, but it can't be like this, right? Or it can't be sunglasses. The sizing, there's a lot of things over here. Once this part is done, you hit save and next, and then you come to academics. Make sure to go to the complete top. Then you will start with your 10th and your 12th details. So you're going to have to fill your board, your year of completion, what marks you got, and so on. And that brings me to my third mistake. By the way, I'm going to have a bonus mistake for you in the next tab as well. So the third mistake is sometimes with the idea that let's make our marks, sort of like, sound a little better. Sometimes we go for, oh, these are our best 5 and things like that. I would say please don't do that. They say that you got to put your name as per your 10th mark sheet and your marks as per your mark sheet. So if your mark sheet is going to have 6 subjects, just put all of them. The only place where this will have an impact is if it is, the change in marks with your best 5 or all 6 is going to be, let's say in my case, if from 92%, if all 6 would come to 88% or something, then you're losing 1 or 2 points, right? But that's the reality. So that's what you should definitely go with. I have known people who pulled best 5 and certain institutes have been okay, but me personally, I know that the weightage for the CAT score is usually the highest, sometimes 100%, actually a lot of times 100% or closer to that. So I just wouldn't want these headaches for myself if I was entering or for any of my students. Now once you fill your 10th and your 12th, then you're going to fill your UG degree details. Once that is done, if at all you have an additional degree or a master's degree or your CA or something like that, then you got to fill these. Once it's done, then we come to the work experience. Now at the work experience, you are doing it in a reverse chronological manner. You have to start with your latest work experience first and then go down. The details here I think are self-explanatory, but one thing to remember is internships do not count, and that is our bonus mistake. A lot of times people want to enter articleship or internship, or maybe you've happened to be working full time, but this is before you've graduated. So let's say you're in college and there's some time, however, you have managed to work full time, or there was a gap in between or whatever it is. None of that is going to count. And this is something which is very clearly explained over here and in the registration guide as well. So make sure that you are putting only relevant work experience. Once this is done, then you're going to select all of the programs. And this is where there's a lot of confusion from students. What are all of these? FABM, ABA, doctoral program, what is all of this? What should I go for? Now, what you should go for is definitely your main PGP. So, something like an IIM Ahmedabad PGP, IIM Amritsar MBA, right? The main degree which is there. PGP or MBA, whatever is mentioned, that's just the way of writing. Like if you're going to graduate from IMA, from the flagship program, you are going to get an MBA. Same as if you graduate from IIM Amritsar. So, all IIMs are essentially giving MBA degrees. Over and above that, at this point, what I would say is when there are other degrees like this is agribusiness management, or let me show you an example from IIM Bangalore, right? So they have PGP EM, PGP PM, and they have the PGP BA. Now, I would say at this point, you can actually go for all of these, right? I've just picked a couple to show you as a sample. Of course, I'm not looking to do an MBA again, but what you could do is you can leave the PhD or FPM. FPM, which is a fellow program, is also similar to a PhD. So you could leave those and you can actually at this point fill everything. I know a lot of students feel I only want to go to ABC or I only want to go to top 5 or top 10 or have some restriction. Only want to go to places which are closer to my house or whatever it is. At this time, I would say just tick all of these because you can go for the interviews and you will get a good experience. See, this entire thing is free from the perspective that you have a payment which you have to make for the CAT form, of course. But over and above that, they are not going to charge you an additional 50, 100,000 bucks based on how many programs or how many institutes you're going for. So just make sure that you are applying for all of these. The PhD is something which you could leave, right? Exception can be if you've already got a really high percentile last year, but it's not been enough for your dream college and you just have a little bit and you're very, very clear. Sometimes that does help people to focus. But again, I feel that the experience that you get from an interview, so let's say you don't get an IIM Bangalore call, but you get the PGPBA call. One, of course, you'll be very glad to go there and study. Second is, even if you don't, the experience itself is something which will be worth quite a bit because you will have other interviews coming up. So that would be my recommendation. Once you fill these, you will also have to fill interview city preferences. Be careful with this. Sometimes what people do is, oh, I want to go to the campuses. So for IIM Ahmedabad, let me fill Ahmedabad. I'm Bangalore, I'll fill Bangalore. I'm Calcutta, I'm going to fill Calcutta, and so on. But the reality is, all of these interviews are going to happen around a similar time. Right? Not to mention that if you're going to be flying around all of these places, it is going to, cost a lot as well. Trains a lot of times will not work because, you might have back-to-back interviews, or what will happen is, you will have work or college and you just can't afford to take that many days off. So just fill whatever is closest. Like in my case, I reside in Chennai. Chennai is not given as an option here. That's why I've gone for Bangalore. But let's say if I'm going for IIM Mumbai, then in IIM Mumbai's case, Chennai actually is an option. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill Chennai and then Bangalore is my second choice because that's also pretty close. So that is what I would recommend, right? So just make sure that you are filling this in. Go for as much as you can. Certain things, if you're very, very clear, hey, I'm never going to go for agri or sustainability management or whatever it is, then you could leave it. Certain things you might not be eligible for, like for example, an exec MBA and things like that. So that way you can just fill the remaining. Now, this next one is also something that you have to fill carefully, and that's your test city. These days, with lakhs of people taking the CAT exam, sometimes people do get their second or third preference. So make sure that you are careful all the way, right? So me, for example, Chennai is my first preference because I'm here, and then Pondicherry is the one which is closer, right? So if you see, I had to actually go to a different, so I'm not, selecting Tamil Nadu. I'm looking at the places and checking, and that's what I would recommend to you as well. Should you get a location which is not your hometown, we always recommend that you go there one day in advance, even if you have slot 2 or slot 3, because you don't want the headache. You can go one day in advance, figure out a hotel or whatever it is, a friend's place, relative's place, the night, and then make sure that you are fresh the next day. At the same time, I wish you all the best and I hope that you get a location which is in your city and preferably closer to your home. Now, once this entire bit is done, then you'll get a declaration, right? This is also where you essentially pay the fees. The fees themselves are going to be 2,600, but it is halved for certain categories. There are multiple ways in which you can make the payment. They have some details of the cards and all of that. But essentially, what you will have once you've gone through the form and all of that is going to be cards or net banking, UPI, these sort of options. Before you make the payment, please make sure that you preview the form. You will have a way to preview the entire form. You can also just click on these tabs and keep checking. So just make sure that you have double checked everything. If you do have a tendency to rush a little or make silly mistakes, or you're simply just nervous, just get a friend or family member to check for you. Make sure that you have everything in place. You've attached all the documents. Once you attach the documents, you'll be able to view it. So do all of that. And only once everything is done should you accept the declaration and then make the payment. Now, I'll also mention a practical thing which has sometimes happened, especially when you are making the payment on the last but one day, because a lot of people are trying to use it. Sometimes there are issues with the payment gateway, and what can happen is money is debited from your card or your bank account, but you get a message saying your payment has not gone through. Sometimes students do panic. It is 2600 is not like, it's not like paying 200 rupees, right? So people do panic. Okay, but the money has gone. What do I do? Do I pay again? Definitely pay again, because typically you'll get the money back within 24 hours. If not, there are ways you can reach out to your bank, or you can reach out directly to the payment gateway and all of that. What you don't want to miss is applying for CAT. So don't wait for the money. Just make sure that you're making the payment again, maybe with a different card or something like that. Right. Now I'll show you what that page looks like also. First off, hit preview. Make sure that you are checking everything. And once you've done all of that, then you go back to the main page. You just need to hit OK and then select and then choose pay you or bill desk. You can check and see which is on the lower side. I'm going to do that after this video, and then choose one. And then you go to the payment gateway and you follow the usual process. So that's it from me in this video. Remember your 3 important documents: your photograph, your signature, and your reservation or PWD document if applicable. Remember the mistakes as well. Make sure that you are putting work experience, which is not internship, not articleship, and which is after your graduation only. And remember that your marks as well as the name that you put should be based on your name has to be based on your 10th mark sheet, and your marks have to be based on your mark sheet itself, right? And aside from that, just make sure that you are going through the registration guide, the eligibility criteria. Keep your mark sheets handy, keep everything calculated so that you can finish it off in one shot. In the spirit of threes, I hope that you definitely get through your top 3 colleges, or at least one of them. And if you want to prepare and crack CAT and you want to get through a top B school, then check out mockcat.com. There's a lot that's there out here to help you. And I'll see you in the next video. All the best.